Awareness building is one part of our ALS Ride for Life mission, and we are fortunate to have town and county leaders helping us in that effort every day here. With us today, Councilwoman Jane Bonner has been instrumental from the beginning in helping this day to happen. Please join me in welcoming her to say just a couple of words. Jane?
Thank you all for coming out. My remarks will be brief. There's a lot of people here. It's not about us as elected officials. It is about Chris's family. And all that Chris has done to bring awareness to ALS, started out as a grassroots effort and really just kind of snowballed. And Chris was never discouraged, always inspiring, and always willing to help out, and his wife too, for residents that contacted my office, Marilyn at Stony Brook at University and the hospital. Just a wonderful organization bringing awareness to ALS. My grandfather died from ALS in the early 1980s, and I have learned so much about ALS because of Chris and because of this organization and because of the people with ALS that really don't ever let you forget that this disease should not be forgotten, that we need tremendous amount of research dollars, and there's a lot of time to make up from being in a pandemic. People need to be as generous as possible because there are many more people suffering, and until we find a cure, there will be more that are diagnosed. So I want to thank Ray, I want to thank Marilyn, I especially want to thank Christine and Melissa and the whole family. I can think of no person that deserves this honor more than Chris, and I'll be very excited when that green sleeve comes down and we can all clap for Chris, who I know is watching over us.
It's truly a pleasure to be here, to remember someone that did so much to cause us and the entire community to understand what ALS was. He rode all over this county. I remember before I was a supervisor, I did a lot of other jobs. One of them was I was a legislator for most of the East End. And he came out to Riverhead several times, and I remember meeting him there. And then I remember working with Janice at Stony Brook for the Ride to Life Day. He did so much. Today, we remember. We remember, and I'm forced to go back to a long time ago when a very great leader, Winston Churchill, when he was retired, went back to the school where he was a young boy. And he had a speech, and he looked down at the speech, and he looked down at the faces, and he realized whatever he said wasn't going to make an impression, particularly for 10 and 12-year-olds. And he ripped up that speech, and he repeated a phrase. And it's a phrase that someone wears on a bracelet. And it said, "Never give up." And he repeated that phrase 23 times and then sat down. And the point was to impart the most important lesson in life. And if I'm not mistaken, that's on the bracelet you wear. Never give up. Never lose hope. Never stop fighting. Always remember. And today, as a community, we remember this man that did so much to educate us about ALS and to call attention to it. And Christine, people here will never give up, just like Chris never gave up. God bless him.
Thank you, everyone. Most of you know I've represented this district in one capacity or another for almost 18 years now. When I first started in 2003, I guess I just took for granted that this is what this organization should do, and Chris was going to be the person who would be out there leading the charge, and I was so blessed to have this going on. And like those of us who are fortunate enough to have a grandparent live well into their 90s, you kind of think they're immortal and they'll just always be there. And as saddened as we were by Chris's passing, we were similarly inspired by everything that he did and the legacy that he has left. I know for me, it is something that I have been involved on every level of government that I have served. And I'm so proud to be here today with each and every one of you. So I just want to thank everyone who was here, the board, Ray, our patients, everyone who has continued this fight and continued to move this organization forward. And I know that our goal of research and a cure will someday be met, and hopefully that will be in short order so that many more will not have to have the fight and the tenacity that Chris so bravely displayed. So God bless you and thank you very much.
So I'd like to invite Chris's family up here. We have a certificate, a proclamation from the town of Brookhaven honoring Chris as Chris Pendergast Day for your whole family. So immortalized forever in the town of Brookhaven.
So thank you all for being here today. Our family is humbled and honored by today's events, by the turnout, which is phenomenal, and the honorary naming of Grandview Boulevard to Pendergast Path. My parents raised their family here, my brother and I, in Miller Place, our whole lives. In 1991, we relocated to Grandview. They loved the Miller Place School District and the community. My dad, the forever nature lover, wanted to be closer to the water. And when he had it down at the end of the road, this just seemed like the perfect place to live. So we found our forever home. My dad and grandpa spent many, many days and months tweaking it and making it just the way they wanted it to be. Needless to say, he adored this house. 2 short years later, he was diagnosed with ALS, and our lives were forever changed. Dreams for this new house and our new life were shattered, but only briefly. My dad's positive attitude and optimism shaped how we would handle this ALS diagnosis. We were a team, and we were going to live with this disease, and live we did. We sure did. Once confined to a wheelchair, he would ride the neighborhood daily, go to the beach for sunsets, brave the snow just to feel snowflakes upon his face. He'd sit under the back awning listening to the teeming rain. And even, I'm sure you're not surprised knowing my dad, he would ride around during hurricanes just to see the swaying of the branches and feel the thrill of the wind gusts. It's true. It's true. My point is, my dad really loved this house and our neighborhood and all it offered our family. We posed for prom pictures and wedding photos. He proudly rode Patrick securely fastened to his wheelchair all around the block over and over again. ALS Ride for Life was born in that house as well. Our dining room became an office. Team meetings were held in the kitchen. A door that was supposed to open and close twice, 3 times a day, open and closed 500 times a day, with volunteers in and out, strategy planning, map drawing and highlighting, and I think that's where things changed and clicked, and this idea that came from one man in one house in one neighborhood changed the world, I feel like. Money raised, lives touched, bonds formed. It's just incredible, incredible. Local businesses, family, and friends worked tirelessly to make our home work for my dad. His bedroom and bathroom and entrances were all made handicap accessible. He had ramps in the backyard so he could still ride around and check out his flowers and his plants and watch us swim in the pool. And we are forever grateful to all of you for allowing our dad to live at home for his whole life. So it's quite fitting that he lived on Grandview Boulevard. My dad would for sure say that indeed he was blessed with a grand view of the goodness and humanity, of the loyalty of friends, of the generosity of strangers, and the grandest view of all is the love of a family. So thank you all so much for this honor and privilege. We are humbly grateful. Thank you.
Ready? 3,
2, 1.